Yeah, hi everyone. It's me, Romie. So this is the review for The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 8, Episode 14, Peaches of the Caribbean. So the episode actually starts off with the ladies. Everyone is actually getting on the bus because they're about to go and meet up with Peter's, with his aunt, I believe. And it's interesting because Kenya, due to the argument that Kenya and Cynthia had last night, Kenya and Matt, which is her boyfriend, they're going to go to the spa. And while they're at the spa, they're just talking about how, you know, this girl, meaning Cynthia, I'm friends with her, and it just hurt me that she's saying that we're not best friends. Now, here's the thing. Cynthia's on the bus, and she's essentially saying, look, I am close friends with Kenya, but I do not consider us the absolute best of friends, which is fine. It's perfectly fine. Kenya didn't think that that was the situation. What's her name? Phaedra is just sipping on something nice and right, and she's like, oh, okay. Because we're all like, all right, Nene comes back and then you flip the script. But no, I get it. Kenya doesn't have to be your best friend. You might be Kenya's best friend. That happens all the time, where sometimes you may feel like the relationship is bigger than what the other person may think. And so Kenya, she kind of overreacted / felt a certain way because of how it was presented to her. Because Sheree was just like, yeah, I was the one that said it, because Cynthia tried to tiptoe and it was like, well, someone came to Kenya and said that, oh, Cynthia said that you weren't best friends with her, that you weren't as close. And Sheree was like, that's me. I said that. Cynthia was just like, no, that's not what I actually said. I was saying we aren't best friends. I consider her a very close friend and a very dear friend, but she's not my best friend. I don't just have best friends. And it's like, all right, we understand that. And she actually starts to cry because we know how Cynthia is. When she really feels for someone or feels their situation, she just starts to cry. And it's like, all right, so did you present it to her that way? Cynthia says, no, I did not present it to her that way. So it's like, maybe you guys just need to have another talk so that she can hear it from your lips like that. And Phaedra sees goat, and she's like, oh, there's so many goats. And they're like, Phaedra, why is it that whenever you talk, it always sounds sexual? And Phaedra's like, yeah, some barbecue goat. I'm like, no, you're in Jamaica. It's curry goat. Stop it. Stop it. But anyway, so they get to Peter's aunt's place, and they have this fish cookout. And it's funny because his aunt thinks that Mallory is his wife. I was just like, she was like, oh, no, my sister right there. It was like, oh, yeah, I always knew. I was like, okay, maybe it's because he was bad-mouthing Mallory all this time. No, I'm kidding. They haven't seen each other for a long time. Well, it doesn't mean that they haven't talked, him and his aunt. But Cynthia was just admiring how he was treating his aunt, because he was holding her hand as they're walking to the dinner table, outside, of course. And it was just like, it was nice to see Peter in this light. And interesting because his aunt goes on to say how, yeah, well, no, Peter talks about he was actually a good kid and his father only had to hit him once. That was enough. The life, everything, when he got smacked, left his body. A flash went, an out-body experience occurred, and that was that. So they actually talk about the logistics of Cynthia's eyewear line commercial. And Kim's just going through the details of what's going to occur. And they're having a good time. And so it's like, all right, who's going to be in it? Well, everyone can be in it. She was like, yeah, of course, Peter, his family, aunt, uncle, all of you can be a part of it. All of you can be a part of it. And so we'll move on from that. But my whole thing is the pettiness that is Kenya Moore is very interesting. It's very interesting. I'll dive a little bit deeper into that later. So, we actually have the ladies go out, you know, Phaedra, Cynthia, Portia, Nene, I think also shows up if I'm not mistaken. Mallory's there. But anyway, they're sitting down by the pool, and the men are off in the bar drinking, and Matt joins the other men. The interesting part about that is the fact that Matt gets his feathers ruffled by these older guys because Matt's 28, and so they're clowning him about his age. They're also clowning him about being so guarded. But first off, I'm saying Matt's in a new situation, so of course he's going to be looking at this like... But I do have to admit, Matt was really uncomfortable, and I'm assuming it's because of how Kenya has been describing everyone, so he has his guard up as well. But it was just... Matt... See, he let them win initially, and it wasn't even about that. They were just clowning him, and if he was just able to take it for a little bit longer and then go through that grace period, everything would have been cool. But yeah, he blew up. He actually wanted Peter to come outside. It was like, if we have a problem, we have a problem. And it's like, no, that's not what it really is. It kind of is, because Peter's trying to puff up his chest in general and clown this kid and see what he's made of. And clearly he's made of brick. It's like, you're not going to come for me and think that something isn't going to happen when I don't know you. It's like, I don't know you. I'm really not comfortable, even though I didn't have to pay for this trip, so I really should be putting my best foot forward. But Nene actually goes and meets up with Kenya. Kenya thought it was room service, and I was like, oh, this is definitely room service. And they have a good talk, because Nene was like, you know what? In the bus, she was saying how she was going to go and speak to Kenya and just let her know that it wasn't that serious. Excuse me. That Kenya loves... No, that Cynthia loves Kenya, and that it's all love, it's all good. It's just that it was being misconstrued on how it was presented to you. So she's able to get Kenya to come out of the hotel room and speak with the other ladies, specifically with Cynthia. And Cynthia's just like, I do value you as a dear friend of mine. I absolutely do. The only thing is, absolute best friend, no. That is just how it is. It has nothing to do with how I feel about you in general. I love you. And it was nice to see Nene being the peacemaker, because I remember at one point we pegged Nene as the ish starter. So it was nice to see Nene just be happy that all the women were there accepting her, and she wasn't having any issues with them. They weren't having any issues with her. So we'll see how long this lasts, though. We'll see how long this lasts. And yeah, I already told you about the mess that was going on with the guys kind of clowning him. But it got really awkward because they started to talk some mess about Kim Field's husband, calling him Chrissy, because his name is Chris. So they were calling him Chrissy at one point, and I'm just like, oh gosh. It's like, that's his name in the entertainment industry, Chrissy. It's like, oh, he acts, sings, and dances. And it was interesting because originally Sheree was laughing and doing all that with the rest of the ladies. But at one point, when she realized they were being really serious about it, it was just like, okay. Cynthia did the smart thing and didn't react at all. Cynthia was like, my name's Bennett and I'm not in it. And then Sheree also started to get that way. Portia was joining along in the giggles and gaggles. Phaedra was kind of halfway. Phaedra was all the way. Phaedra was all the way. I'm not even going to front. But they like Chris. Long story short, they like Chris. They like his energy. They like what he's about. So that's good. But when you have them also insinuating that, what do you really do with that? And like I said, it's always cute to have Kim Fields and her family being there, but it just wasn't the right moment, at least for this type of show. And her husband had to go back to the States to work, so the nanny really had to take over. But it was really nice seeing Kim in her producer outfit, and so they were on the beach Cynthia was killing it as usual. The sand was beautiful. The beach was beautiful. The water crystal clear as you would expect. But it was awkward because as soon as Kenya got there, she got on one of those floatable bike things with Matt, and she went all far, far away. Everyone else is having a good time. You know, Kenya and Portia thought it with their outfits. Portia wearing a see-through, a skin tone bathing suit along with a black mesh cover-up, and then Phaedra's just like, yeah, I don't have any bottoms, so this black mesh long flowing bottom thing is just gonna have to work for me. And it was funny because Phaedra was clowning Matt as far as, it was like, oh, so I understand you guys really enjoyed yourself at the spa yesterday. Did you get the big black cucumber? And it was, no, eggplant? Anyone? And Matt, again, was still uncomfortable. He's definitely not someone who knows how to adapt to other situations as quickly as this group would like. So it makes him stick out in a negative way. Kenya's clowning the call sheet, and Nini's just like, wait a minute. Kim doesn't know how to spell my name. Or now, we know that Kim didn't actually create the call sheet herself. She probably had one of the people in production do it. So it makes sense that they might have gotten that wrong. Not saying that that was a good look, but come on now. Let's stop it. So they're filming, but the weather is barely holding up. Initially, they had to stop because, as we know, as soon as you get to the island, it can go at any time from beautiful to, oh crap, take cover. So that's what they were having to deal with. But everyone was having a good time. Kim was even having a good time. Like I said, it was nice seeing Kim in her producer mode. And the interesting thing was, it was like, okay, stop. So everyone's enjoying themselves. Portia is taking a selfie. Sheree. Phaedra is just lounging around in her beach chair. Cynthia and her sister are just sitting with each other, and so it's like, alright, she has the glasses off, everyone's doing their own thing. She has the glasses on, everyone's running to her, she's a supermodel. It's like, oh, thank you, thank you. And poor Matt looked like he wanted to be a part of the fun, but, you know, he can't just go off and do whatever he wants, because he's there because Kenya's there. And it was interesting. We saw lightning. I was like, y'all guys gonna have to come back. Games are over. Y'all are gonna have to come back. Gonna have to come back. So yeah, the commercial was a success. Shout out to Bob, because Bob stole the show. Bob was just like, oh, yo, let me get this selfie. I was like, I really wish that we saw more of Bob in this light than when he was going through it with Sheree, because that just messed up everything. That messed up everything. And you have Kenya talking to Matt, and Matt was just saying how, you know, he had an issue with the guys because they were calling him about his age and all that. And so it kind of reaffirmed Kenya's stance on really not feeling the rest of the people at this moment. But anyway, Portia's guy comes from Miami. You know, remember the guy, the Latin guy. And Portia's like, oh yeah, oh, he took from work, so you know this could be a keeper. But you're going to have to stay in the separate room. I know you're going to leave the door open. No. So I'm like, so why'd you invite him? He took off from work for money? What is he getting? So they threw this party technically for Kim, for the commercial, for the success of the commercial. Kim was like, no, this is for Cynthia and all of us. But thank you. Yes, give me my props. There we go. Finally, I did something right for you ladies. Now, the last thing that mainly happened when Kenya and Matt came in, they saw ladies and was like, hi, but then they stayed by the bar. They stayed by the bar because of the issues that Matt was having with the guys, and Kenya was still on shaky ground with the rest of the ladies. But she eventually comes over and she's just chatting it up with them. It's just like, alright, Let's stop it. Let's stop faking the funk. We're all good. And Matt does, of course, what guys do. He goes, he gets a drink as a peace offering. He goes over to Peter. He says, "Excuse me, Greg." And he gives the drink to Peter. And they're all good. Because that's how it is with guys. It's like 1 minute could have an issue. Because normally guys normally don't have issues with each other. If they do, that's when it becomes a real problem. But if it's because of their woman or significant other, family member, well, no, not family member, but something borderline petty, that's when you normally just like, alright, it's not that serious. By the next day, we're good. So, I guess shout out to us. But, Sheree being who Sheree is, Sheree's like, I don't like fake, I don't like phony, I don't like fraudulent. Here we go. You guys were saying some not so nice things about Kim Fields' husband. You're saying, oh, now, how he's so cool, easy to get along with, great guy, great guy. Yeah, you weren't saying that last night. You were essentially saying or alluding that he was gay, and Kim was just like... And Sheree went on, it was like, yeah, they were even saying in the entertainment field, these ladies were saying that it was pretty much well known. And Kim's just like shrugging, and and that's how the show ended. And see, here's the thing, because they did say it, I don't have a problem with Sheree repeating it. I really don't. I really don't. And that's why I like Sheree. Sheree's going to give you the real. She's going to give you the real. Drink no chaser. And so please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about that.